All right, folks, Mark here. Y'all know how I do cookbooks, bring information. Tonight, y'all know I usually come with the sciences, right? I usually come with the physics, thermodynamics, just come with the quantum mechanics. But I want to take it back to the foundation, my roots, the good book, my Bible. And you see I got the inscription, Mark, M-O-C. Got my inscriptions in there. And I want to read from Matthew chapter 8, verse 5. And the theme here, I want to talk about the word. The word. Matthew chapter 8, verse 5, it's about the centurion showing absolute faith in the word of God, or in the word of Christ. Chapter 5, verse 5. And when Jesus was entered into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion beseeching him, and saying, Lord, my servant lieth at home sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. And Jesus said unto him, I will come and heal him. The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. I say to this man, go, he goes. I say to another one, come, he comes. And I say to my servant, does this, he does it. When Jesus heard it, he marveled and said to them that followed him, truly, verily, I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, what is amazing, there's so much that I want to extract and pull out from this. So let's ruminate on this a little bit. Let's gestate on this a little bit. Okay, let's do some gestational exegesis and eisegesis. Right, we're going to draw some real stuff out of this. Now, the centurion says to Christ, I am a man, I am not worthy. My home is not worthy for you to come. Christ said, let's go to your house. Let's go. Where's your servant? I'll fix him up. I'll heal him. The centurion says, oh, whoa. My house is too filthy. It's not clean enough. I'm not worthy. The house, my home is not, it's substandard. It's subpar. It's what the centurion was also doing in effect. He was acknowledging whose presence he was in. Excuse me. Without articulating it, he articulated that I am in the presence of royalty. I am in the presence of greatness. I am acknowledging your majestic nobility. And my home is just that of a subject, of a, poverty. My home is that of a peasant in comparison to your majesty, your greatness. So the centurion was, in effect, articulating without articulating the greatness of Christ, which is an interesting observation. He knew the presence of whom he was in. But not only did he know the presence of whom he was in, he knew the power of the presence of whom he was in. Because people, he says, look, I'm under authority, meaning I got a general or I got somebody that I got to answer to. And I have hundreds of soldiers that are under me. I say to them, go, they go. I say to them, sit, they sit. I say, stand, they stand. I tell my servant, do this, he serves. In essence, what he's saying is, I need only to speak to men, and men move at the sound of my voice. But you, no. I have power over men. That's what he's saying. But you have power over spirits. You have power over demons. You have power over angels. You have power over sickness. You have power over diseases. I know your power. He said, peep this. He said, no. He said, the centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof. Here's the PowerPoint that I want to, this is what I want to emphasize. But speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. The Greek translation for word is logos. Actually, there's three Greek words for the word word. I'll say that again. There's three Greek words for the word word. And those words are, I got them written down here, pathos, ethos, and logos. Now, logos, pathos, and ethos are three methods of persuasion by Aristotle. I'll say it again. Aristotle, three methods of persuasion are ethos, pathos, and logos. And all three of those are forms or types of the word. Here the centurion says, speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. Now, ethos, pathos, and logos are methods of persuasion by using or by articulating with words, by articulating with words and persuading, but they're methods of persuasion. So, for instance, ethos is where you endeavor to persuade by appealing to the ethics, the morals. You persuade your audience by showing your credibility and your expertise in a certain field, right? So a doctor, for instance, would say, my qualifications as a doctor allows me to diagnose you and say that you have whatever the illness may be. So you would use your credibility and your expertise in the field to persuade an audience, right? That's ethos. Then you have pathos. Pathos is more of a emotional way of persuading people, right? So you would appeal to someone's emotion. So you would say, you know, if you don't go to the doctor, and no, if you don't stop smoking, you're going to die. That can be pretty persuasive, right? You tell someone you're going to die like tomorrow if you don't stop smoking. That is a very persuasive argument that you're making, and you're appealing to the emotion of fear, right? So that would be a method of using pathos as a method to persuade. And then you have logos. Now, I got it written down here. Logos, that is a method of persuasion that appeals to logic, facts, and reason. So you would say, okay, the return on this investment over the last 2 quarters have been, 15%. So in the last 2 quarters, this investment yielded 15%. If we annualize, that means it's 30%. It'll be 30% by the end of the year, by the 4th quarter. So in the 1st and 2nd, you got 15, and the 3rd and 4th, we're annualizing, and we're anticipating based off the first 2 quarters that you'll have another 15, so that'll be 30%. So now you're appealing to reason, you're appealing to logic, you're appealing to facts and statistics. So these are 3 methods of persuasion, and all of these 3 methods mean one thing: word. Here the centurion says, only speak thou the word. So what he's saying to Christ is, look, I know the power of the presence. I know the power of whose presence I'm in. And if you speak only the word, which is any one of these methods, you would be able to convince my servant to be healed. So in other words, what he's saying is your persuasiveness is so powerful, it precedes you. Because in other words, I've heard of your persuasiveness before I even met you. Because the centurion is letting us know that he knew of Christ's power before he met Christ. So he's saying your persuasiveness precedes you because I know whose presence I'm in. I'm not worthy for you to come into my home. And if I can speak to mere man and get them to move, then how much more you? You can speak to powers, principalities, spirits, demons, darkness, angels. You have persuasive power over all. And my servant is laying at home sick. I need you to speak in pathos. I need you to speak from ethos. I need you to speak from pathos. I need you to speak from logos. Either of these methods of persuasion that you use, Christ, will heal my servant. And this is all Aristotle's methods of persuasion. I mentioned that before. The word, if you go to the Greek and you look up the word in Greek, you'll come across ethos, pathos, and logos. All of these are methods of utilizing the word, whether it's written word or spoken word. But either way, these are different methods of persuasion. So what the centurion was saying is you have the power of persuasion, and I have the power of persuasion over men, but you have the power of persuasion over principalities, over celestial beings. You have the power over supernatural. You have the power over divine. You have the power over astrology. You have the power over cosmology. So he was saying you have the power over the universe. So you don't need to come to my house. I know who you are. Only speak thou the ethos. Only speak thou the pathos. Only speak thou the logos. Persuade. Persuade. Use your persuasive, it's rhetoric. Use your persuasive rhetoric and your rhetorical dialogue, your ability to articulate, and heal my servant. You don't need to come to my house. I know whose presence I'm in. I know when I'm in the presence of royalty and nobility. I know when I'm in the power of majesty. I know when I'm in the presence of majesty, majestic, kingliness, kingship, royalty, regal. Right? So this is what the centurion was exercising. And Christ then says, wow. You know, I've been, in all Israel, I have found no such faith. What Christ is saying there in actuality, what he's saying there is amongst the Gentiles, amongst the infidels, amongst the non-believers, as we would call them today. I'm paraphrasing here. Amongst the non-believers, amongst those who are not of the house of Israel, who are not of the house of Jacob, I have found greater faith, no greater faith. That's what Christ is saying. I'll read it. He says, verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. So the children of the promise, the children of the house of Jacob, the children of Abraham, Isaac, the children, the Jews, not even amongst the chosen Jews have I found so great a faith. Who else? Who are those who are not considered the children of promise? Those are the Gentiles, the infidels, the non-believers, the backsliders, those who are lost, those who are in darkness. Christ says, amongst them, I have found more faith than amongst my own. And then furthermore, he goes on to say in verse 11, and I say unto you that many shall come from the east and west and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into utter darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. We know what that means. So those who are considered the chosen, those who are considered the promise, those who believe they have the truth, those will be cast out. And those who are considered the uncircumcised will be embraced. They shall come from the east and the west, and they shall dine in the kingdom of heaven. So the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. Let no man despise you. But I don't want to digress, because the theme here is understanding the power of the power of the persuasive language, the power of the persuading word, ethos, pathos, logos. Whichever method you want to use, speak only the word. If I can speak to mere men and get them to move, and I'm not kingly, I'm not royalty, I'm not Christ, I'm not the Christ, how much more you can speak to the seen and the unseen, the visible and the invisible. And this, my friend, is faith. This was absolute faith in Christ's word and his ability to exercise rhetoric, to articulate rhetoric, and to get effectiveness. Not just to articulate rhetoric, but to be effectively persuasive, to be effectively persuasive. And he said his servant was sick. So this is not just a persuasion as I need you to do something, I need to convince you. No, this is a persuasion that sickness has to leave the body of the servant. So even over sickness, you have power. Your persuasiveness have power over sickness. You can persuade the sickness, the illness itself, to be whole, to be healed. So the centurion exercised so much confidence here. What we're doing is called, I believe, it's exegetical interpretation, right? Didactic, right? Instructional and exegetical. Like we're getting the correct, we're taking out a deeper interpretation here. We're really squeezing the orange and, really, getting the meat and the potatoes out of this here. We're putting some skin on the game, right? So it's the word. Only speak the word. So you and I, the lessons that we should take from this is understand the power with which we wield the words we speak. So our words can be extremely powerful, and we can we can be extremely persuasive and speak things into our existence, speak things into our lives. And we do it unwittingly at times. But being aware and conscious of the power of the word, the Aristotle's methods of persuasion, it's powerful. It's mind-boggling. It's beautiful. Till next time. Y'all know what I'm going to be doing, cooking books and bringing information. Peace.